Hi there, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Clay Anderson. I'm with the Sioux Falls Flight School. And tonight's presentation is going to be about becoming a commercial pilot and also a career in aviation. Just to quickly run through some of the changes over the years, I think it's apropos to kind of look at some of the cockpits that have been out there. Here's the 1903 Wright Flyer, built by the Orville Wright and Wilbur Wright, the Wright brothers, for the first powered air flight, and a lot of wood and things like that you don't see at all today. This is the Spirit of St. Louis, of which Charles Lindbergh flew. He won a $25,000 first place from New York to Paris. And basically today's dollars, that $25,000 was more like $340,000. So it was quite a big deal, made him an international star. Here's a Douglas M2 back in 1920. A 1918 Fokker with the World Wars. Here's a Messerschmitt, kind of one of the first twin-engine jet aircraft with a stick in the middle. This is a Spitfire, very well known for its fighting prowess. That's the Bell 1. X-1 is a supersonic jet flown by Chuck Yeager, which is over 720 miles an hour. The Enola Gay dropped the atomic bomb that finished off World War II in Japan, and that was called the Super Fortress. Here's the Lockheed Martin's Blackbird SR-71. It's decommissioned. It used to fly at over 3 plus Mach. That's over 2,100 miles an hour for reconnaissance. Here's the Concorde. I got to see that when it first came into the United States in Washington, D.C. at Andrews Air Force Base. It's been decommissioned, but it flew across the pond from New York to London at a supersonic level, faster than 700 or Mach 1 speed of sound. Here's our South Dakota Air National Guard with the F-16. Here's the Boeing 747. Here's the 787, a glass panel we call it, with more digital versus so much analog instrumentation. Here's the European version of that, which is the Airbus Corporation A320. Looks very much like Star Trek. Here's another a little closer. It's got a joystick rather than in the center. Now it's got a computer program, a computer laptop that you manage the systems with. And just to give an idea of the sheer size of this beast, it's 262 feet wide and 239 feet long. That's almost a city block both ways. It flies 10,000 miles and can go about 634, almost Mach 1, probably 0.8 Mach. Turbofan. But most of all, the latest, greatest aviation. It's been around for a long time, but it's still the number one selling aircraft in the world is the Cessna Skyhawk 172. Oop. And you can kind of tell by the avionics there, it's quite nice. This is the pilot career path infograph that I was just going to peel through just so that people have an understanding of, what are the steps to become a commercial pilot. It first starts off in the top right there is a private pilot certificate. It takes about 35 hours of ground training and 35 hours or to 40 hours of flight training for a total of, national average is over 50, 55-ish. And that individual is allowed to fly other people, but not for hire. The next step would be an instrument rating, so this allows that individual private pilot to fly through the clouds on instrument flight plans. The next would be ultimately a commercial pilot certificate, which a culmination of anywhere from about 190 to 250 will get you into that right seat so you can fly for hire. Most flight instructor individuals that get to the career route go through a CFI, CFII, and MEI scenarios. That basically allows them to teach other folks to fly. And from that period of time, from the 300 hours all the way up to 1,500 hours, you basically work as a commercial pilot, and there's many different areas to do that. But once that individual has the 1,500 hours required, then that individual is able to go out and take the airline transport pilot test if they're interested in flying for the airlines. Duration of training, it kind of changes, depending on where you're actually working on your flight training at. Your local flight school, you pretty much do it at your own pace. University program is going to be a kind of a specified school term, 4 years plus. Accelerated flight programs, that's a little different, but they still have a pretty definite time frame for accelerated your flight program. The funding can be anywhere from pay out of your pocket, get student loans. There's different opportunities for different organizations, and also the military offers a free ride if you can get it. Last year, it came out with a very phenomenal year, but I've got some updates from the 2015 market outlook from Boeing Aircraft. Basically, over the next 20 years, that's what this program overview will look at between now and 2035. You'll see more than 2 million commercial airline pilots, maintenance technicians, and cabin crew. Let's kind of drill down a little bit there. 2016, the pilot and technician, this would be a mechanic, respectively, the industry forecast for pilot demand projects 617,000 new commercial pilots, that's worldwide, 679,000 for maintenance or mechanics, and 814,000 for crew members over the next 20 years. Basically, the highlights of this on the right side over the next 20 years, the Asia Pacific region will definitely be the big one, and we'll get more graphical as we go here. So you can see 248,000 versus North America at about half of that, so 18 to 40%. The bulk of that will be between the two of us. And of course, Europe is about 17%, which is right behind us. So that's 3/4 of the entire population for the next 20 years for pilots. So primarily, if you can speak English and you learn how to fly, you've got almost guaranteed a very nice job. This is going back to the 2015. It hasn't really changed a whole lot, but basically I like the slides. This is the number of aircraft that would double over the next 20 years, from 21,000 to 43,000. The emerging markets to lead the growth, obviously, like I said before, Asia Pacific was by far the bulk. The new airplanes to be delivered, if you look at the second one over from the left, is 26,000. That's just huge. That's 2.77 basically $1 trillion worth of aircraft. So that's going to be the biggest market for aircraft sales. Some of the press would be Aviation Week. This came back from a little over a year and a half ago. Then in a nutshell, to the right, 20,000 pilots to retire in the next 7 years, and 10,000 of that is just in the United States. So with our mandatory retirement age, things are accelerating. This piece from USA Today talks basically about the same issues with the demand. And just to keep in mind, on the right, airliners hire 10 pilots per plane. So you always have at least 2 people in the cockpit, and they can only fly so many hours, 8 hours in a day, if you will, and then they get timed out. This is also from another regional airline that used to actually work through South Dakota quite a bit, and they no longer do because they don't have the number of available pilots. The shortage is here right now, and it's going to get worse in a hurry. So let's look at the commercial pilots. What's the availability? Airlines is always the number one thing that people think about. Business aviation is big: military, flight instruction, agriculture, air taxi, and banner towing. This is just going to kind of give you an idea, and I'll hit the highlights of each slide just to save time and give you an idea of where things are at. The major airlines, the captains in the left seat are easily making $200,000 a year. Experience prerequisites. To get in that right seat, you're going to be flying over 3,000 hours total before you even get accepted to the majors. Before that, you'd be in the regionals, and the regionals are more of an entry level to the airline. Lower pay, average earning 70 to 110,000, where people are going to start. 2025 is what it was about a year and a half ago, and now it's closer to 30 to 42 in that range. And they expect the requirements of the 1,500 hour ATP requirement, and that's a typo on 500 hours of multi-engine. Normally it's only 50 that's required to get in. Business aviation, that's basically going to be around your airport, and business owners and professionals will be using these aircraft to basically get from point A to point B and save a lot of time. Those are fun jobs to have. It gets in a little bit more about the advanced technology. I just flew in a newer Cessna Citation that is just unbelievable. Pilot compensation, you're still business jets, 136,000. I have, and that's about right. Co-pilot, and then first officers, basically going down the line. So it's all based on generally how many hours you have and how long you've been with the company. Flight instruction, that's the backbone of aviation, because without flight instructors, there would be nobody to fly to the moon or do any kind of pilot training. CFIs are engaged to instruct all three common areas of knowledge, skill, and judgment. Flight instructors will develop students' understanding of traditional aviation academics, such as the rules and regulations, aerodynamics, aircraft operations and performance, meteorology, and navigational, etc. The flight instructor will also demonstrate flight procedures and cultivate an individual pilot skills. Pay is on the lower side since this is pretty entry level. This is a fresh certified flight instructor that comes out of the pocket. $20 is probably getting to be the new minimum, as high as $35, depending on what kind of type of instruction you're doing, along with what kind of aircraft you're flying. The big thing for flight instructors, and that's getting to that 1,500 hour mark, is he's compensated with the same number of hours into a logbook as the person that he's instructing. So if he's flying an aircraft that rents for $110 or $300 an hour, he's able to log that same time in his flight book, in his flight log, and have the other person pay for it, along with getting compensation for being an instructor. Agriculture, we're looking at this for crop spraying. Air taxi, this is more of a charter pilot that's basically more of a routine single engine to multi-engine, multi-million-dollar jet type of transportation. Pretty much out and back type trips, can be a few hours up to several days. That's more of a compensation on flight instruction and charter. It's quite a range, and it's actually moving up as time goes on. Firefighting, they go out there and hit the forest fires with those huge twin-engine aircraft. Government service, there's about 4,000 pilots in the United States that work for the government. Law enforcement, the flying smokies, we like to call them, they're doing everything from trying to transport prisoners to flying elected officials from point A to point B. Medical evacuation, this is the fixed-wing and helicopter ambulances, if you will, that are used by at least two of our local hospitals every day. Broadcasting, this is when we get to that eye in the sky where we're required, or it'd be nice to see the individual who's able to log hours flying above the twisted lanes of traffic and kind of report different traffic, purge points where traffic is slow because of accidents and things like that. Scenic flying, this is if you were out there by the Mount Rushmore area and you were able to fly people around, see the face of that. It's a fun job, and it's always entertaining, and it gets fairly good pay. This is from Brown Lease Finance. Basically, they're looking at the opportunity of a teaching degree, and if you look at all four, the pilot's ROI under that is about medium, to those anywhere from a teacher to a doctor. Here's the medium salaries. Career earning years is probably the biggest career opportunity, is that you're able to keep flying till age 65 if you're in the airlines. Younger than that for the military, I believe. But pretty much there's no end in sight, if you will, depending on what else you want to fly. This is the dollar invested ROI. For every dollar invested, you'd make $33 as a pilot. So earning capability and capacity is awesome. And again, some of the things that make a good pilot are some of the skills that they earn and learn. Confidence, multitasking, time management, problem solving, and adaptability. The self-confidence is by far a neat thing, because when you think about it, how many friends do you know that have ever taken off and flown an airplane by themselves? Managing uncertainty. Pilots are trained to manage uncertain situations and emergencies that crop up, and you're pretty much looking forward to, if something happens, what would you do? And that you just basically train for that. Communications, you always have to be in communication, and good pilots always communicating. Problem solving, when you need to decide make an amend to a certain flight, you need to be able to solve that problem right away. Some of the employers out there looking for individuals, some of the 3 attributes that they like the most, 78% of all employers will consider any major, which is good. So an aviation major, if you were in a collegiate program, can be great. With those 3 top traits: communication, problem solving, and adaptability. Top entrepreneurs, those individuals that want to start their own business. Right now, millennials account for about 66% because of their flexibility, self-confidence, and tolerance for ambiguity. The freelancers, getting to be a huge market for contract work, if you will. Problem-solving skills, communication, and self-confidence. 37% of millennials would like to own their own independent contracting business. How do you pay for training? Well, you can do it out of your pocket. You can do it through student loans. And if you get lucky enough to do the military, you have to pay them back with a multiple-year commitment. Where do you start? Well, contact a local flight school and get your first flight lesson and see and feel what it feels like to fly. And also consider a Bachelor of Science degree in aviation. Thanks all for your time. I hope this was helpful. And if you have any additional information you want, contact us at info@siouxfallsflightschool.com. Or again, my name is Clay Anderson, and call me at 605-728-2233. Thanks.